Hello and welcome to the Fit News Podcast. I am your host, Jen Shaver, and joining me today are Tom and Mary Dort. After working over 30 years in industry in increasing roles of operations, staff, and business leadership roles, Tom and his wife Mary, an RN for 35 plus years working in many healthcare settings, started a health and wellness business in Cape Coral, Florida. They are area developers and franchisees of the Altera HealthTec brand, as well as brand representatives for the Pharmanex Brand. Their primary markets they serve are medical practices and professionals of almost any specialty, elder care facilities, fitness and health clubs, and companies implementing employee wellness program. Now, one of their favorite health tips that they did share with me is your body is amazing in its ability to protect and heal itself if you are providing it proper nutrients, rest, and activity level. With regards to antioxidants, eat the rainbow of fruits and vegetables. So we know that I am so on board with that. Yes. So Tom and Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, you both bring a very unique blend of industry experience and healthcare knowledge to the health and wellness arena. So I want to start with your personal journey to health and wellness. And, you know, with over that 30 years in the industry and healthcare respectively, what was the pivotal moment that kind of inspired you both to pivot towards the health and wellness sector and, you know, specifically focusing on antioxidants and nutrition?
Okay. Well, we both were sort of at crossroads in our careers. My position with the last company I was with the position was being transferred overseas, and it was not something that I was interested in doing. And Mary, at the same time, was kind of going through a crossroads in your career. So I'll just.
It was no longer fun. I dislike going to work, and I have never felt that way in any of my jobs.
Yeah.
Just because it was more about numbers and less about people.
Yep. Yep. So, I think many people would resonate as a patient feeling that way in terms of they feel like I'm just a number. I'm not, you know, there's a face and a name and all kinds of stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your primary role was education, and it pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, as a registered nurse, I mean, that's one of your biggest things that you do is educate people.
Right.
And, you know, you can't even find a registered nurse in a doctor's office anymore. Yeah. You have medical assistants, and I have absolutely nothing against them. They play an important role, but the problem is they don't have the education to teach.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, because where else are people going to learn other than their doctor's office?
Right. Right. Yeah. How would you say that your background has influenced your approach to health and wellness then?
Well, I mean, myself, I was not as healthy as I should be. And unfortunately, you'll find that a lot in healthcare providers. You'll see nurses were overweight. We run through, we're not eating healthy. And so when we had the chance to use a scanner and I came up at a D level, I wasn't 100% surprised.
Yeah.
Because, you know I don't eat what I need to be eating. And so I was faced with, okay, what are you going to do? And, you know, and then I thought, well, if I'm facing this, other people are too. You know, because at that time I was 59, you know, fast approaching that 60 mark. And it's like, what do I do?
Right.
So this was a good way to give us a number and a baseline, and then let me do something.
Right. Right. You know, so I want to talk about that. You said the scanner. So let's tell the audience what we're talking about when we're talking about the quote unquote the scanner. What is it? Let's talk about it.
I'll just show it to you real quick too.
Okay.
This is what it is. It's a biophotonic scanner. It's in the blurry section, I guess. I'm not sure how well you see that, but anyway, we were introduced this about 15 months ago.
Okay.
And what attracted me initially to the company is the scanner, because as an engineer, I've always been trained, if you can't measure things, you can't control them, and then you can't improve them. It's
Well,
more
and
of a
that's true with anything though, right? I mean, if you're not
Exactly.
measuring, then you don't know if you are making progress or declining, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what the scanner is displacing or replacing, which isn't really out there commercially, is the traditional way to do it is with a skin biopsy and sending it to a specialized lab doing HPLC tests on it, and it costs $900 to $1,200, and it's not covered by insurance.
Right.
So it's no reason why it's not being done. And that's unfortunate, because what the scanner tells us is what are the levels of your antioxidants, your critical antioxidants in your body. It measures the concentration of carotenoids in your blood over the last 60 days or so. So it's a very powerful biometric of health that's just not being used or hadn't been used up to this point.
And so let's kind of dive a little deeper into that for the listeners in terms of, why do we need to know these antioxidant levels, and, how do we implement changes or, move forward,
So antioxidants, there's tremendous published literature in the medical journals and the science that link the level of your antioxidants to, because what they do is they protect your cells and your DNA from free radical attack. So free radicals are oxygen containing substances that are missing an electron, and they're very unstable. And if you don't have proper antioxidants in your system, they'll attack the cells, and they'll neutralize themselves, but they'll damage the cell. And then when one cell gets damaged, it replicates into another damaged cell, and so forth.
Kind
And
of like the domino effect.
it's a
Yes.
domino
Yeah.
effect, and it's cumulative. So having the proper levels of antioxidants are critical in your body to prevent that cycle, because it goes from oxidative stress to inflammation. Inflammation leads to disease, chronic disease. And that cycle, when I learned that relationship, that's when I said, uh-oh, I need to really change my own self. I scanned at what we call a C level. We put it on a scale that people can relate to,
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, F.
Right.
But it's actually a biomarker that can be tracked by a physician, because it's for every 1,000 on our scale, it equals 0.06 micrograms of carotenoids per milliliter of blood.
Okay. Wow. And then, so the scanner, let's walk through kind of what the process is with the scanner. Like, walk us through how does it work, and, what maybe makes it a game changer in preventative healthcare, because it really is an excellent tool in terms of preventative healthcare.
Exactly. And that's why the business that we started and wanted to build on is for preventative and proactive. In the United States, I think our Western medicine is very good at acute care, but when it comes to preventative care, we lack sometimes. And this is a
very reactive.
Very reactive.
That is medicine in a nutshell. We react to things and we work on them, but nothing proactive. I should say very little proactive.
Right.
So the scanner provides a metric before it's really measuring your wellness. And when you are scanned low, it's not that you're in a chronic disease state, but it's saying that if you stay in that state, eventually it's going to catch up to you. So it allows you to take proactive and preventative measures. So where do the antioxidants come from? Well, your body produces antioxidants, but your carotenoids specifically are a unique antioxidant, because they're carbohydrate chains that can donate up to 20 electrons. So vitamin C or vitamin E, they're very powerful antioxidants, but they only donate 1 electron. And they have other functions in the body.
Yeah.
Whereas the carotenoids, their only goal objective is to protect those cells and DNA. And they actually protect the other antioxidants in the system. So it's a very frontline, first level of defense for your body to free radicals. And you can only get those from fruits and vegetables. So you need to be eating, that's where eating the rainbows of fruits and vegetables come from, because you get your antioxidants, and particularly your carotenoids. The carotenoids come from your yellows, reds, orange vegetables and fruits. Your purples, greens, blues, they contribute other kinds of antioxidants. And you really want a network of antioxidants. You don't want there's not a silver bullet antioxidant in your body.
Right. It's just like anything. Again, we go back to the saying, balance is everything, right?
Exactly.
So we don't just want, all the red fruits and forget about the rest. We want them all, right?
Right.
I know that there are 4 factors for those antioxidant status, right? The proper nutrition, the lifestyle choices, body composition, and supplementation, correct?
Right. That's correct.
Okay.
And the lifestyle choices are things like stress, activity levels, sleep quality. All those things are important.
And unfortunately, the society we live in right now, there's a lot of people with sleep issues. I never had a problem with sleep issue at all until I went through menopause. And now it's like, for the longest time, I had to take something to help me sleep. And you can't live your life doing that either.
Right.
So it's hard. Yeah.
Well, we know, especially, during that change of life period that many women do struggle, in particular with sleep and sleep disruption. And yet we know that not getting enough sleep creates extra stress.
Exactly.
So it's just this cycle that you have to, learn how to manage, and kind of getting all the information you can on it.
And we try to place these devices in medical practices to, as I said, to try to create it as a standard of care for the patients.
Right.
But once a person scans, then it's okay, what do you do about it? You could do it with your diet. We have a nationwide network of registered dietitians that we offer to the practices for nutrition, lifestyle counseling, and coaching. And then we offer medical grade nutraceuticals. But regardless, when you go down a path to start correcting it, then you've got the scanner that validates whether it's working.
Right.
And that's it's a quantitative measure. It's something you can do every 30 days and make sure that it's really doing what you're hoping it's going to do. What the changes you've made. And
then, so when we're talking about getting scanned, I know you showed, it's just a small handheld apparatus. What is the process like? Is it quick? Does it shock me? What does it do?
No, it's 30 seconds. I usually tell people it takes longer to get their information in the computer than it does for the scan.
Yeah.
And which is very true. We put their information in, and then we just have them take their hand. You want to go right about here, and then you cover over the lens right here and just hold it. And
so
then
it's really just like shaking somebody's hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In 30 seconds, you know what it is.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So much easier than a skin biopsy.
Yeah. And you could do, because of that.
Yeah, well, it's non-invasive.
Right.
Totally.
And you could do children. We've scanned our grandchildren. One is going to be turning 2 soon, and another is 3. We scanned our youngest one when she was 1, but we had to kind of hold her hand on it. But there's no, like you say, it's non-invasive. So it's very easy to do, anybody and everybody. It's
right. But you can tell even that early, because our granddaughter, like you said, she was just 1, and she had basically up until that time just been a breastfed baby.
Right.
Whereas her brother,
Mhm.
as at that point where he doesn't like vegetables anymore.
Right. Yeah, they
You
all
know,
go through that, right?
yeah, they do. And so whereas her score was up here because she'll eat absolutely anything now
Yeah.
and was getting a good baseline, he's older and no,
Right. Yeah.
So the good news is though, we have children's supplements.
Yeah.
Send them to him. He gets it. He expects it on his plate, at his chair every morning. So, and he's very diligent about taking them.
And
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
went from the C zone to the high B, so
Yeah.
Amazing.
it's
Yeah.
really great to see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then, that as we mentioned before, the 4 factors, right, of the status, supplementation was one of those 4.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Because you can only get some of these through diet or
Mhm.
supplementation.
Right.
The other factors can help or hurt, generally hurt. And
Mhm.
I could speak from experience. I started out at 35, and I
Mhm.
was starting on our program, but it also caused us to change our own lifestyles,
Yeah.
work on activity and losing
Mhm.
weight. But as I was going up, we had a death in the family, and that created stress. And we could pick that up on the scanner. As soon as that happened, it started going down. And but that's why you really need to be in. We consider the green, the B zone,
Mhm.
the safe start of the safe zone. But we really want people in the blue zone because when these life events happen, you can absorb them without putting yourself at risk.
Right. Right. Because the fact is, they're going to happen, right? And so,
Mhm.
how have you set yourself up to handle those events? And
Exactly.
is your health going to suffer now? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, based on some of your favorite health tip was to eat the rainbow, right?
Right.
Could you share maybe some practical advice or simple strategies for our listeners to incorporate a wider variety of antioxidants into their diet?
Well, the recommended daily allowance now for fruits and vegetables is 8 to 10 servings a day,
Mhm.
which is very difficult for people to do.
Right.
So, you know, you do want to consume as many as you can. That's a given.
Mhm.
You want to stay away from the processed foods. Uh, Easier said than done, I understand,
Right.
because our society now is just go, go, go,
Yeah.
grab something on the run. So we're not conscious. So I think, you know, first thing I would
It
suggest
takes
is
a little bit of planning. I mean, you have to plan for it
Yes.
because a lot of times you're out, you can't find anything that's healthy.
mm,
We've
Right.
been traveling a lot,
Yep.
and it's like, whoa, okay, there's nothing here that's good for me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so we have to, in that situation, we have to plan better for
Right.
sure.
Right. Or you improvise and you make the best choice you
Right.
can
exactly,
in that situation, right?
exactly,
Knowing that it's not happening every day and
right,
it's
Mhm.
it's a once in a while thing that happens. But I agree, and that's one of the things that I work on with the ladies that I work with is that, and they know this, they know how often I say this, but no team showed up to the Super Bowl without a plan and won, right? So if you're going to win at this game of life, you're going to need a plan.
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know one of the quotes was from Dr. Richard Cutler from the NIH.
Yes,
And the amount of antioxidants that you maintain in your body is directly proportional to how long you will live. Let's talk
right,
about that a little bit.
yeah,
I could start with saying that one scared me to death because
Yeah.
both parents unfortunately passed away early. My father
Okay.
was 58, my mom was 63.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's so
with
young.
me being 59 at the time that we started this, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I've got past one bad age, but I'm coming up to the other one. And
yeah,
I didn't want that for my
Right.
kids.
Hmm.
My kids never knew their grandparents, and I
Yeah.
don't want that for my grandkids.
Right.
hmm,
Right.
yeah. There was something I was going to say about.
Sorry.
No, no, no.
Mm.
I mean, we want to at Pharmanex we say a health span. You know,
Yeah.
the health
Yeah.
span of an individual. you don't want to get into your retirement years and be crippled. You want to be
Right.
have a life full of vitality. You want to be able to enjoy it. And as I said, these are cumulative effects when you're young, you think you're invincible and you
Right.
do everything.
Right. Well, that's just it. I mean, and it's exactly that. You might be in your 40s or your 50s and you might be saying, I'm good. I'm not on any medication, right? Or I'm okay, or, but if you continue down the road that you're on, eating all of the processed things and, not making healthy lifestyle choices, all of that's going to add up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd mention is a lot of people like to blame genes on everything.
Yeah.
And, genes, I've seen it as low as 8%, as high as maybe 20%. But, the impact in on your outcomes later on in life, in reality, 20% or more 80% or more is related to your lifestyle.
Right.
And you have to make those choices as early as you can and get into better habits. Your genes they say pick your parents, but it's really, that's not the dominating factor.
Right. Right. And, it's never too late.
Exactly.
To turn the car around and go a different direction, because, you can still make an impact.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were mentioning that quote. A colleague of mine likes to use the quote, you dig your grave with your teeth. So it's a little crude way of saying it, but it's the same thing.
Hey, you know what? Truth hurts sometimes, right?
Yeah,
And sometimes it's those things, though, that will resonate and get somebody to sit up and wake up and say, whoa, right? Something's got to change. And if it has to be said in a blunt way, in order to get them to listen, oh, well, right? Because the point is, we want them to change their mindset and make healthy.
Exactly. And the scanner does that too, because when you see that score and you're in the red zone or the orange zone, because 94% of the people that we scan for the first time are low or failing. And, part of it is because they've never been measured before.
Right.
And people think we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
They think they're doing the right things, but they don't know. And,
Right. Yeah. Well, there's so much information out there, right?
Yeah.
Some of it good, some of it bad.
Yes.
And it can be overwhelming,
Right.
Especially if, maybe you haven't been making the best lifestyle choices, but you want to turn things around, but then you don't know where to start, right?
Right. Exactly.
Or you've just had your head in the sand and then you have this reading done and you're like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get that wake up call.
Yeah. Right. Which better to get that, right?
Right. But then you get the positive reinforcement of seeing it go up, be it by diet or by supplements, either way, you see it go up. And for me, it was a way that, okay, well, if I can do this, I can do that. So I decided to lose weight. And I was able to lose some weight and feel so much better now than that. But before that, really wasn't too interested in losing weight until this kind of kick-started us getting healthier.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, can you tell me just what is if somebody wants to go to their doctor and see if the doctor has this device, what is the the name? Because if I walk into my doctor's office, say the scanner, they're probably going to say, what?
It's a biophotonic scanner from Pharmanex.
Okay. Okay. And then where can our listeners find more information on this and on you and on all that you do?
They can go to our website. It's Mary and Tom at I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Yeah, I just drew a blank.
Yeah, it's all good.
You'll get it. There we go. maryandtom.mynewskin.com. Okay. So Pharmanex is a wholly owned subsidiary of Nu Skin, which is a beauty care company.
Okay.
But it's interesting because now they're integrating beauty and wellness together. Pharmanex started out in retail, and they were in 35,000 retail outlets. but when they were purchased, they pulled all that out, and they do a direct marketing kind of approach now. But it's an amazing program.
Okay. And then if our listeners were to go to that site, would they be able to find where maybe a scanner is in their area, or how would they know
It's
if
possible,
there's a
but I
scanner?
would suggest they just reach out to us,
Okay.
reach out to me,
Mhm.
and there's a scanner locator function.
Okay.
It's not necessarily the easiest to find, but we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
My contact information is just mtdort, the number 1 at hotmail.com.
Okay. And all of this information will be included in the show notes in case
Oh,
somebody
okay.
is
Okay.
on their walk and doesn't have their pen and pencil handy.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you think maybe we didn't cover, that we need to cover, that
Well,
we
I think
missed, or that you want to reiterate, just so that way we get that point across?
I think the comment that you made is very powerful and correct, is that it's never too late.
Yeah.
We can, if you get your cells healed,
Yeah.
they're going to start performing properly then. And it's amazing the stories that we hear as we've been scanning people, and they've been making corrections, whether it be inflammation. We had one gentleman that he told us he couldn't even walk to his car. He got from a hotel, he got wheeled out in the little luggage cart.
Oh, wow.
And he went on the products, and they're really driven to to address inflammation as well. And a few weeks later, he's chasing after his dog, and without even realizing it. But we've got stories of. We have to be careful of what we say, because we're not a drug, so
Right.
we don't claim to heal, treat,
Right.
those kind of things. But the testimonials and the anecdotes that we got are extremely powerful, of seeing people's A1C number come down.
Yeah. People go off blood pressure medicine, which is very rare. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's
it
all
is
part of that fourth tenet of supplementation, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just an all around change of their lifestyle. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is so important, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And it can be difficult, but still can be 6 feet under, right? I mean,
Exactly.
here's your options, right? And like you
Well,
said, you mentioned health span, and I really liked that you mentioned that, because if I'm 70 but I'm not healthy and I'm stuck just sitting in a chair watching my family have fun, what good does that do me, right? I mean,
exactly.
so the
And
idea is
that
to be
is,
healthy throughout. Yeah.
as Mary said, approach 60, that resonated with us a lot more. But people just need to realize it is a cumulative effect over
Yeah.
their life, leading
Oh,
up
yeah.
to the point. So
Right.
make the changes now. It's worth it.
Right. Yep, for sure.
We actually, for my 60th birthday, we took a family cruise, and this was the first time that the grandkids have been where they could go. And it's like, okay, we need to do this more often.
Yeah.
And I can see us now doing it at 65 and 70 and that type of stuff,
Yep.
and enjoying them
Yep.
and them enjoying us.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Mhm.
it. It's time with family and being able to enjoy that time with your
Exactly.
family. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, Tom and Mary, we thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Okay. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Fit News podcast, and we will catch you next time.